Thank you guys so much for joining this episode of The Construct. We have the CEO of Metal Misfits, Jocelyn Cuevas. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. And for those who don't know who you are, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name's Jocelyn. I own Metal Misfits. I started Metal Misfits back in 2019 during a moment of weakness. I injured myself a couple years back. I love to work out, and one of the things that I had to stop doing was kind of like working out as hard as I used to. So I kind of poured my energy into looking at what everyone has inside the gym, and I created a backpack for women to start their fitness career. We started there, and I did merch just as a little, sell a couple shirts here and there, yoga pants, along with the backpacks, and realized very soon that we just kept selling out clothes over and over again, and that's what turned us into Metal Misfits community. Um, the community just they love the clothing. So I learned very fast that my niche was in clothing, not in backpacks. And yeah, that's kind of how we got started. And here we are closing out year 6.
And I've seen, your business has been such a big monumental success, and everyone in the Lehigh Valley knows who you are and supports your vision and your brand. Um, so I just want to, give you your flowers and, congratulate you on your journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. And, one of the things I loved about, your brand, you know, such as growth, changing, adaptability. Um, the main topic I wanted to talk to you about today is throughout your journey, because creating a business in itself is not for the weak. I feel like that's something that a lot of people who are determined, they need to have a vision to in order to achieve their dreams. So for you, looking back on your journey, what's the moment that you feel like forced you to grow the most, in your opinion?
Losing my team was one of the hardest things that it makes me a little emotional till this day. But losing my team was the hardest thing that I think I've ever went through as an owner. Um, Losing people that I like loved. It sh- it definitely showed me a lot about myself and how to change. Like I had to change everything, and it was just one of the hardest things that I've ever been through. It hurt me emotionally for I'd say a little over a year. It took me into a little rabbit hole for a little bit, and I just had to adjust. You know, the community never felt it, but I did, and it's something that I would never push out there. But I did. I lost my main photographer, who was like a best friend to me, my right hand man. I lost the team of, models that I was using continuously. Um, it was hard. It was a hard adjustment. And I think it was a hard adjustment because there was an emotional attachment to it. But yeah, that had to be it.
No, and you don't have to get to details for what happened in that whole scenario, but I wanted to ask, what did you learn most about yourself throughout that whole process?
I learned that I really can just adapt to anything. Um, it was one of those moments where I used to push that change is good, and I always did say that. But this was one of those moments where I had to realize that change was good and change was needed. And we started using new photographers, we started using new video people, we started using, anyone who was willing to push their content out there, and the feedback was like insane. Uh, I can't tell you on one or two hands how many times I got a DM that said like, "Hey, like your photos are killing it right now. Like, what are you doing? That's like what changed?" And in my head, I'm like, The photographers changed, the everything's changed, and I just was, like, so I just didn't know how photos impacted other people, and I didn't think that people were actually watching like that, you know? I'm thinking they're just, like, looking at the clothes, looking at the girls, and that's it, but some people are invested, so, um, yeah, I was like, that's what changed, you know, the whole dynamic of the business changed, and I'm clearly changing, evolving, so
That's awesome. And well deserved. I've noticed the change in the photography, the aesthetics are different. You know, there's a little I feel like naturally we as humans have a attention to detail and, you know, people who are supportive of your brand can tell that it's not the same as it was before. Which kind of leads to my next question. You know, how did it change the way you move in life now after that whole experience? You know, with losing your team.
it's good. Like I said, it took me a little bit to adjust and to realize what was going on. But now that we are flowing, we have another in-house photographer who, you know, loves my business just as much as I love my business. And that's hard to come across someone who's willing to do everything and anything that I say and not like that, but they're willing to put the business before their business. That's hard because photographers are their own people and they're their own business. But yeah, now that we kind of have a flow, you know, it took us I'd say it took us about a year to get comfortable with my demands. Um, you know, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I'm not willing to settle for anything less. This is my vision. Uh, Communicating a constant, like having that open line of communication constantly, you know, that right there, like sealed the deal. And it was trial and error for a little bit, but now it's like, oh, this is like second nature for us. We pick a date, I send the clothing, I show who the girl is, I show who the girls may be, you know, and we pick a date. And once we get there, it's like, oh, I used to need like 2, 3 hours. Now we're doing this in an hour and we're doing multiple items. And he just flows with me. We just jive well. Um, and it's perfect. It's what I needed. So
Do you think that where you are right now, like, do you think you would be where you are right now if that never happened, that change, that happened before?
yeah, I was like complacent. I was fine with how things were. I wanted the business to grow. And we always talked about that, and there's nothing against the other photographer. I will never badmouth him ever, even though my heart was so invested. Um, we kept saying, like, the business needs to grow. And what can we do to change, like, get there? How can we get there? Like, let's up the levels of the photos. Let's try to look at what's trending. Let's do more. Let's do more. But we had the same routine. So we did the
Mm,
same thing and we did the same thing and the same thing and the same thing doesn't get you better results. Changing nothing gets you anywhere. You know,
mhm.
the only thing evolving in the world is change. So yeah, it was like beating a dead horse. We were kind of just doing the same thing, expecting new results, and that wasn't happening. So yeah, I think that happening and forcing me to change and forcing me to change everything about the business, definitely moved me in the right direction.
What have you noticed has been, like, the biggest change in all of this? Obviously, you have a new team right now that's helping you with your photography, helping your business grow. Um, is there anything else that specifically that's, like, very, very different compared to, your former team?
Yeah, we have one in-house photographer, but
Okay.
he's so open to me working with others. He's not like very how do you say possessive or like that's my job. He knows that in order for us to grow as a team, like, other people have to step in and be able to showcase their work every now and then. He's open for me to go and explore and get other brand deals, and sometimes other brand deals come with their photographers, but we have been super open he's been super open with that, and it's definitely changed the dynamic. We're constantly working. We just had that big deal with Lehigh Valley Acura, which is a huge company in in our town. They're not a small business; they are a big business. So for a big business to want to collaborate and get approval for that, um, that that entailed working with a new video person. That entailed working with 6 different photographers. I've never had that many photographers in one setting or that many video people all come together. There was 6 different content creators in one house, and my content creator wasn't there. He didn't get to experience that with me, which kind of like, oh, like was like a dagger to my heart. But it was just a moment for me to see what I'm capable in a different light and under a lot of different light. As you know, as a content creator, lighting is everything. But yeah, under so many different cameras. But that was something that we needed to do, and it worked. It was a success. So yeah, working with different people has been a game changer.
And it sounds to me that I've noticed this too in your brand is you have kind of expanded your brand a little bit and allowed yourself to collaborate. Because I think, you know, whether you're in filming or photography, content creating, whatever it is, or even business, there's a there's a sense of like needing to collaborate with other people in order to kind of like grow and also be able to stay creative and just keep things flowing, adapting to trends, seeing what's trending, seeing what people are talking about. So that way you're not just stagnant and staying in the same spot.
Yeah.
Um, has that also been something that you feel like you're a lot in a more creative, collaborative space as well?
Yeah. I've always said, like, I've always been the primary, like, s- stylist, the primary everything. Content is me, like, the ideas are mine, the locations are mine, the everything has always been, like, my ideas, and I learn now that, at work, like, I have a team of people that I work with at, like, work, and they so many different minds together always being bring better results because there's things that I miss that the next person is not going to miss. And there's things that the next person's going to miss that another person's set of eyes is going to change the dynamic of everything, you know? So just being open to other people's feedback and taking other people's ideas and putting my twist on things and just multiple eyes is better than one. 6 brains are better than 1. So that's been a game changer as well.
Question for you, because I think when you're on the journey of like being a business owner, content creator, when you're chasing your dreams, right? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to bring you down and not allow you to grow to your full potential, right? Do you feel that um do you think growth always requires a little bit of pain in order to get to that level of success?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no there's no progression without a little dagger to the heart. Honestly, I think coming out of something, it's not what you go through, it's how you come out of it. It's like growing through what you go through. That's something that I always kind of talked about and on my platform. It's like growth pains. Like, you don't you go through puberty and like you come out of puberty and you're like, look at me. Like I changed. I grew. Like I needed to go through that to, come out better. So yeah, I believe pain is beauty. Um, and beauty is pain. Like you have to go through those things and to come out on the other side.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Um, how do you rebuild trust in yourself after something like that happens? Um, because I'm sure that like when you in any case in life where you would have like close friends, collaborations, and things happen, it's hard to open up again and trust people to be in your bubble in a sense. So for you, how were you able to rebuild that trust in yourself to, collaborate with other people to help you to help your
Um,
vision grow?
I don't know. For a while, I had this very like hard block where I was just like, this is never going to work. This is never going to work. This is never going to work. I was negative. I was negative, and um, I'm never going to build a team again. And it took me to just have an open mind and an open heart. And that's like one of the hardest things to do because I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to feel that.
Of course.
I have an open heart and an open mind, but I have stipulations on myself. You know, no, don't get too heavily invested. Um, I'm not too hard on the fact of my biggest downfall in life is I give. And when I love somebody, I love somebody like wholeheartedly. And that's kind of what happened. I love these people like I'm like these are my best friends. These people turned into like my best friends. So going forward, I said, like work is work and work is work. And that's that. It kind of sucks because it's like I've met a lot of people along the way that could have potentially been for life for people, but I was like, no, like we're not doing that again. We're not. So it's like an open heart and an open mind, but I kind of keep boundaries.
If you could go back, would you do things differently?
Huh. Nope. I wouldn't change anything that I've been through to I wouldn't be here today. I No, I wouldn't have learned the things that I've learned. Like I said, I would have still been complacent. I still would have been okay with how things were going, because I was comfortable. And I learned that being uncomfortable is what makes you grow as a person. So no, I wouldn't change anything. I know that I had to go through the things that I went through to get to where I am today.
So in a way, you feel like it was kind of like it needed to happen in order for you to reach the level that you wanted to for Metal Misfits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Um, do you feel that that pain has made you stronger or different?
I would say different. I'm a little bit softer, like not softer in a sense of like I'm not like I just said, I'm not like opening my heart to everyone and like letting everybody in, and that's hard for me. Because as you know, I'm like I don't know, I'm like a lover girl. Like I love people. Like once I like build a relationship with somebody, I like to keep that friendship open. I like to be there for the people that I love. So I'm still that person, except when it comes to business, like business is business. And they're not wrong when they say don't mix like family with business, personal with business. Like that holds true. Like I'm a little bit more closed off when it comes to like my heart inside the business world. I It's business and business only. And if you want to meet me outside of business and, you know, connect somewhere else, like, then I do, and I just don't use you for business anymore. Then we're just friends, you know?
Mhm.
But then you don't get the opportunity to, like, be on the platform and, I'm not using my friends anymore to be on my platform. It's like it's strictly business. So, yeah.
No, I agree, and it's people need to learn not to take things personal. It's
Mhm.
like when you're running a business, there's a lot of things that are at play here. Your sales, revenue, maintaining the business, and be able to make sure that it's profitable as well. So there's a lot of things at hand, and I completely agree with that. Um, how do you feel? How do you keep moving forward in life when growth doesn't feel good? Because and the reason I ask that question is because I feel like naturally human beings are afraid of change, and when they actually have to, they know that there's something in their life, whether it's losing weight or getting out of a toxic relationship, whatever the case is. It doesn't necessarily feel good in the beginning, right?
Yeah,
And for you, maybe someone who may like feel stagnant and stuck in life, how do you feel like what advice I guess you would give them to move forward, even though in the beginning it's not going to feel good?
I always say, like, time heals all. Like, that's, like, my favorite thing to tell somebody who's going through a breakup, or when you lose a loved one. Those are, like, 2 of the hardest, I feel like, topics, like, ever. And I kinda feel like they were, like, both wrapped into one for me. Like, I was losing a really, really, really dope relationship, um, and I also felt like that person, like, died. Like, I never got to speak to them again. I never got to have that open line of communication to see, like, what happened. Um, and like I said, I was sick at first. Like, I was, like a full-blown depression. Um, but I pretty much was like, "You know what?" With time, like, time started to, like, go, and when I realized that I was, like, deep in it, I told myself, like, "I need to get myself back together, and, like, how can I get this business back together if I'm not okay?" And that's exactly what I did. I started back into the gym. I fully invested my 5 days back in the gym. I was like, "If I'm focusing on me, then I'll be fine." And once I started doing that, like, time started to speed up. Like, when I was, like, heavily invested in myself and loving myself again, um, things started to fall back into place, and time heals, like I said. Now we are, a year and 9 months almost later of starting from square one again. I started back in the gym in January of 2024. So, yeah, it's been a year. Yeah, a year and almost 10 months, and things are starting to look better, and there's like a clear mind, clear pathway. So, yeah, time tells all.
Time definitely tells all. And I remember like maybe a couple months before I moved to North Carolina, I remember that I interviewed you in person, and it was a great conversation we had, and I've seen the growth like full hand, like well your pictures, your strategy, I see you being consistent on TikTok as well. Um, so just I commend you for that because I think that is something that not enough people are willing to do. Some people
Yeah,
just want to stay in a victim mindset and just woe
yeah,
is me, but you like a lot of people I feel like that are strong-willed are just gonna focus on, yourself and loving yourself first. And
yeah.
I think that's very, very important. Um, so when people look back at your journey years from now, what do you hope they say about the women behind Metal Misfits?
The woman behind, like the woman behind, or like the full community behind.
I guess you could say the full community.
I would hope that, and I hear it a lot, like, we're not using models who are paid, and these are real life women. These are real life women with the same daily struggles as everyone else. These are not women who get on social media every day and take perfect photos. These are women who post on their story all day just like you. These are people who have flaws and they know they have flaws. These are real women. And one thing I love to hear is like, "Oh, I love that your brand uses real people." Um, they're realistic body types, realistic people, and, you know, that is something I hope to keep forever, and I hope that one day it shifts somewhere in the world, you know? Do I wanna be the next Gymshark? Yeah, but I don't have the 30 to 50, affiliates, that ambassadors that are working for me that have millions of followers, so we're not going to be seen as much as those people. But that's something that I stood strong on since I started this business. Do I hope we evolve? Yeah, I hope we do, and I hope that one day we are seen in a larger scheme of things from these women, because these are day-to-day people. These are real life. I when brands are like, "Oh, we use real women," I'm like, yeah, you use real women with hundreds and thousands of followers, millions of followers sometimes, you know? These are people with 300 followers. These are women with 200 followers. Some are 2,000, but those are still very, very tiny numbers. And we do it because we just want to showcase real women, like, So I hope that people look back and say, like, wow, she really did make it somewhere and stood to her mission, and I stick to that. Like, I'm sticking to that.
I love that. Last question for you, Jocelyn. If everything that you've been through has been preparing you for like a bigger purpose, what do you think that purpose is, in your opinion?
Oof. Um, I mean, something that I've been, like, working on, and I think I've been saying this to, like, my friends and family, and they, like, know it. Um, Outside looking in, kinda think, like, she got it all. She got it put together, right? You got the full-time career that I worked so hard to, like, acquire. I work for a really good company. I have the business. I have a life partner. I have children who are healthy, kids who are thriving, home, all the things, right? But internally, I still feel like something's missing. So one of the things, and I feel like my greater purpose is, sometimes I think you might even see it. Sometimes I do these things where women reach out to me for help, and I depend on my community to show up for others the same way I try to show up for others. Um, and just like today, I have this basket that's sitting right in front of me actually. A little girl who is fighting childhood cancer. So like I that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard in its own thing. So like I put together this basket for a raffle for like the foundation that they're doing for the mother, to raise money for the mother to be able to afford everything, and whether it's to put food on the table, whatever the case may be. So that doing work like that has been a little bit more fulfilling, you know, recently. I feel like it's like filling in the void that I know is missing. So like I think my purpose in life is, I had these contacts. I have contacts all over the valley, is like insane. Like when every time I go somewhere, someone's like, "Who don't you know?" And I'm like, "I didn't know I was gonna come here and see 8 people that I know." Like, I just came here to be me. Like, I just came here. Like, I didn't know that that person was gonna be here, but I believe that all the people that I do know and all the resources that I do have are gonna be put to a bigger purpose. And, it's something that I've been in the talks with. I don't know if it's, like, for sure, it's concrete, but I'm praying that on it, that, I wanna start a nonprofit, for women in need, and I hope that that does. I hope that that's what I'm here for.
Hmm.
I hope that Metal Misfits leads to that. So,
That's
yeah.
powerful. That's awesome. And I pray that, you know, I see that, and I've seen you help people who are in need on Facebook and all of your social media. So um, I believe that too, and I pray that everything that you want to achieve and you know are pursuing happens into reality. Um,
Thank you.
of course, Jocelyn, where can people find you and support you?
Where can they find me and support me?
Yes, like social media wise.
So metalmisfits.com. A purchase goes a long way. So that's first and foremost. That's the business. That's the root of everything. But we are on Facebook under Jocelyn Cuevas. Um, we are on Instagram as Metal Misfits, and we are on TikTok as Jocelyn Cuevas as well. Or actually, I don't even know what my tag is. I think it's like Jocelyn or Misfits CEO or something of the sorts, but
Mhm.
mostly Facebook. My personal Facebook is where I do a lot of my outreach. That's where I do a lot of the it's not a nonprofit now, but, that's where I do a lot of that kind of work, and then my Metal Misfits Instagram is my primary, source of communication as well on Instagram. So,
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll make sure to leave all the links down below the description of this video so that people can support you and your brand for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Jocelyn, and thank you anyone who's out there. Go support Jocelyn. Go follow her. She's someone that is very close to me, and we've collaborated multiple times. Supporting her business. So go support her. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe and see you guys in the next interview. Take care.